The morning fog hung thick over London as Queen Camilla's black Range Rover pulled into the VIP section of Heathrow Airport. It was supposed to be a routine departure for a charitable visit to Scotland, but nothing about this day would prove routine. The Queen Consort sat in the back seat, reviewing her speech notes for the children's hospital opening she would attend later that afternoon. Detective Inspector Sarah Matthews had been working royal protection for 15 years, but she had never encountered a situation quite like this. Her radio crackled with urgent messages from the Security Coordination Center. There had been a last-minute change in protocol, something about new security concerns that required immediate implementation. The details were still unclear, but one thing was certain. All royal movements needed additional verification. Princess Charlotte, now 12 years old and showing remarkable composure for someone her age, had arrived at Heathrow 30 minutes earlier with her personal protection officer. She was returning from a weekend stay with her great-aunt, Princess Anne, at Gatcombe Park. The young princess had developed a close relationship with her great-aunt, who had been teaching her about equestrian sports and the responsibilities that came with royal duty. As Camilla's vehicle approached Terminal 5's royal suite, Charlotte was already inside the private lounge, quietly reading a book about marine biology. Her protection officer, James Morrison, noticed the increased security activity but thought little of it initially. Royal schedules often overlapped at airports, and additional security was standard procedure when multiple family members were traveling. The first sign of trouble came when Camilla's usual entrance route was suddenly blocked by two royal protection officers. They stood with their hands positioned professionally but firmly, indicating that passage was not permitted. The Queen Consort's private secretary, Margaret Thornfield, stepped out of the following vehicle and approached the officers with growing concern. "I'm sorry, but we need to verify some details before allowing entry," said Officer Collins, a 20-year veteran of royal protection. His face remained expressionless, but there was tension in his voice that suggested this was not a routine check. Margaret's eyebrows furrowed as she consulted her clipboard of official documents. "Everything is in order. Her Majesty's flight to Edinburgh is scheduled to depart in 90 minutes. We have all the necessary clearances." Inside the royal lounge, Charlotte looked up from her book as she noticed the commotion outside the large windows. Her young eyes, sharp and observant like her father's, picked up on the unusual tension among the security personnel. She had grown up around royal protocol and could sense when something was amiss. The radio communications were becoming more intense. Detective Inspector Matthews received a call directly from the Palace Security Office, informing her that there had been a potential breach in the communication system. Someone had been intercepting royal travel schedules, and until the situation was resolved, all movements needed additional verification through secure channels. Queen Camilla, still seated in her vehicle, began to feel the weight of the delay. She was known for her punctuality and dedication to her charitable commitments. The Children's Hospital had been planning her visit for months, and dozens of young patients were looking forward to meeting her. The thought of disappointing them because of a security protocol made her increasingly anxious. Officer Morrison, responsible for Charlotte's safety, approached the window where she sat. "Your Royal Highness, there might be a slight delay with departures today. Nothing to worry about, just some additional security checks." Charlotte nodded with the wisdom beyond her years that often surprised adults. "Is Grandmother Camilla here too?" she asked, having noticed the familiar royal vehicles through the window. "Yes, she is," Officer Morrison replied, "but she's dealing with some procedural matters at the moment." The young princess closed her book and walked to the window. She could see the tension in the officer's body language and noticed how her step-grandmother remained in the vehicle longer than usual. Charlotte had always been perceptive about people's emotions and situations, a trait that would serve her well in her future royal duties. Outside, the security situation was becoming more complex. The palace had confirmed that there had indeed been a security breach. Though the details remained classified, someone had gained access to travel schedules and possibly other sensitive information. Until the full extent of the breach was understood, all royal movements were being treated with extreme caution. Detective Inspector Matthews found herself in an unprecedented position. She had to balance the security requirements with the practical needs of the royal family. Queen Camilla had important commitments, and Princess Charlotte needed to return to her studies. But the security protocols were clear. No exceptions could be made until the situation was fully resolved. The media had not yet caught wind of the situation, but Matthews knew that wouldn't last long. Heathrow was always under scrutiny, and any unusual royal activity would quickly attract attention. She needed to find a solution that maintained security while minimizing public speculation. As the minutes passed, other travelers in the terminal began to notice the increased security presence. While the Royal Lounge was separate from the main terminal, the additional officers and vehicles were difficult to hide completely. Airport staff were briefed to maintain normal operations while being alert to any unusual activity. Queen Camilla finally stepped out of her vehicle, her expression calm but determined. She had dealt with many challenging situations since joining the royal family, and she knew that patience and cooperation were essential. Her years of experience had taught her that security protocols, while sometimes inconvenient, were necessary for everyone's safety. The Queen Consort approached the security checkpoint with dignity and understanding. "Officers, I appreciate the importance of your work. Please take whatever time you need to ensure everything is properly verified." Her gracious response helped ease the tension among the security team. Officer Collins felt a surge of respect for her professionalism under pressure. It was moments like these that reminded him why he had dedicated his career to royal protection. Inside the lounge, Charlotte continued to observe the situation with keen interest. She had learned from her parents and grandparents that being royal meant accepting that security and protocol were part of daily life. But she was also developing her own understanding of how to navigate these challenges with grace and intelligence. The communication systems were working frantically to resolve the security breach. Cybersecurity experts at the palace were tracing the source of the intrusion while coordinating with airport security and MI5. The investigation was revealing a sophisticated operation that had been monitoring royal movements for weeks. As the first hour of delay passed, both Queen Camilla and Princess Charlotte demonstrated the patience and understanding that had been instilled in them through their royal training. Neither complained about the inconvenience, understanding that their safety and security were paramount concerns. The situation at Heathrow was becoming a test not just of security protocols, but of royal character under pressure. Both Camilla and Charlotte were proving themselves worthy of the trust placed in them by the British people, showing grace and cooperation in the face of unexpected challenges. Detective Inspector Matthews received another update from the palace. The security breach was more serious than initially thought, and the investigation was likely to take several more hours. She faced the difficult decision of how to proceed with the royal travel plans while maintaining the highest levels of security. 2 hours into the unexpected delay, the atmosphere at Heathrow's royal terminal had shifted from mild concern to serious tension. Detective Inspector Matthews found herself coordinating between multiple security agencies while trying to maintain the appearance of normalcy. The cybersecurity investigation had revealed that the breach was far more extensive than anyone had initially realized. Queen Camilla had been moved to a secure holding area within the royal lounge, where she sat with remarkable composure despite the circumstances. She had canceled her afternoon engagement at the children's hospital, a decision that weighed heavily on her mind. Her private secretary, Margaret Thornfield, was working frantically to reschedule appointments and manage the growing list of concerned inquiries from various royal offices. Princess Charlotte had been quietly observing the adult conversations around her, picking up fragments of information that painted a troubling picture. Her protection officer, James Morrison, had received strict instructions to keep her isolated from the main security discussions, but Charlotte's natural curiosity and intelligence made it difficult to shield her completely from what was happening. "Officer Morrison," Charlotte said quietly, "this isn't just about travel schedules, is it?" Morrison looked down at the young princess, struck by her perceptiveness. "What makes you say that, Your Royal Highness? The way everyone's talking. The extra officers. And look," she pointed discreetly toward the window. "Those aren't regular airport security vehicles." Indeed, several unmarked black SUVs had arrived in the past hour, along with personnel who clearly belonged to specialized security units. Charlotte's observation skills were proving to be remarkably acute for someone her age. The investigation team had discovered that the security breach involved more than just intercepted travel schedules. Someone had gained access to detailed information about royal protection protocols, safe house locations, and emergency procedures. This level of penetration suggested either a highly sophisticated criminal organization or potentially state-sponsored surveillance. MI5 operative David Kensington arrived at the scene to take direct control of the security response. His presence confirmed that this was no longer being treated as a routine security concern. Kensington was known for his methodical approach to crisis management and his ability to coordinate complex multi-agency operations. "We need to assume that all current protocols have been compromised," Kensington briefed the security team. "Until we can establish new secure procedures, no royal family member can be moved using standard protocols." This revelation sent shockwaves through the protection detail. If standard protocols were compromised, it meant developing entirely new security procedures on the fly while maintaining the safety of two members of the royal family in a public location. Queen Camilla was briefed on the situation by Detective Inspector Matthews, who explained the gravity of the security breach without causing unnecessary alarm. The Queen Consort listened carefully, asking thoughtful questions about the investigation and the measures being taken to ensure everyone's safety. "How long do you estimate before secure transport can be arranged?" Camilla asked, her voice steady despite the circumstances. "We're working on multiple options, Your Majesty," Matthews replied. "But safety must be our primary consideration." Meanwhile, Charlotte had struck up a conversation with one of the airport staff members who had been assigned to assist with royal services. Mary Chen had worked at Heathrow for 12 years and had interacted with many royal family members, but she was particularly impressed by Charlotte's maturity and thoughtfulness. "Have you ever seen anything like this before?" Charlotte asked Mary, her curiosity evident, but her tone respectful. Mary chose her words carefully. "Sometimes travel plans need to be adjusted for various reasons, Your Royal Highness. The most important thing is that everyone stays safe." Charlotte nodded, understanding that there were aspects of the situation that couldn't be fully explained to her. But her questions revealed a sharp mind that was processing the available information and drawing logical conclusions about the seriousness of the circumstances. The cybersecurity investigation was uncovering disturbing details about the scope of the breach. The intrusion had been ongoing for several weeks, during which time detailed information about royal movements, security procedures, and even personal schedules had been systematically collected. The sophistication of the operation suggested resources and expertise that went far beyond typical criminal activity. Back at Buckingham Palace, senior royal staff were conducting their own security review, examining every aspect of their information systems and communication protocols. The king had been briefed on the situation and was coordinating with government security agencies to ensure a comprehensive response. Officer Collins approached Detective Inspector Matthews with an update from the technical team. "Ma'am, we've identified at least 3 separate intrusion points into the security network. This wasn't a single hacker. This was a coordinated operation with multiple access points and backup systems. The implications were staggering. If criminals or hostile actors had detailed knowledge of royal security procedures, it could take weeks or even months to completely overhaul the systems and ensure their integrity. In the meantime, every movement and decision had to be made with the assumption that standard protocols were no longer secure." Queen Camilla demonstrated her experience and leadership by requesting a direct briefing on the situation. She understood that her cooperation and input would be valuable in developing appropriate security responses. Her years of royal service had given her insights into both protocol requirements and practical security considerations. "I want to understand exactly what information may have been compromised," she told Kensington during their private briefing. "If we're going to develop new procedures, we need to know what the opposition might know about our current ones." Kensington was impressed by her strategic thinking. Many people in her position might have focused solely on their immediate inconvenience, but Camilla was thinking about the broader implications for royal security and the safety of the entire family. Charlotte, meanwhile, was displaying her own form of leadership by remaining calm and cooperative despite the uncertain circumstances. She had overheard enough adult conversations to understand that this was a serious security matter, but she maintained her composure and even helped keep the mood light among the staff members who were dealing with the stress of the situation. "Officer Morrison," she said during one of their quiet conversations, "my father always says that during difficult times, people look to the royal family for stability and reassurance. Even if we don't understand everything that's happening, we should show that we trust the people who are working to keep us safe." Her words reflected wisdom beyond her years and demonstrated the effectiveness of her royal education. Even at 12 years old, Charlotte understood her role and responsibilities, and she was determined to fulfill them with dignity and grace. The afternoon was progressing with no immediate resolution in sight. The investigation was methodical but time-consuming, and developing new security protocols required careful coordination between multiple agencies. Both Camilla and Charlotte would need to remain at the airport until secure transportation could be arranged using procedures that hadn't been compromised. Airport staff were working quietly to manage the situation while maintaining normal operations for other passengers. The royal delay was being handled discreetly, but experienced aviation personnel could sense the unusual tension and activity around the VIP terminal. As the hours passed, the true scope of the security breach continued to unfold, revealing a sophisticated operation that had penetrated multiple levels of royal protection systems. The response was becoming one of the most comprehensive security reviews in recent royal history, with implications that would extend far beyond this single incident at Heathrow Airport. As evening approached at Heathrow Airport, the investigation had reached a critical breakthrough. MI5 operative David Kensington received a secure communication that changed the entire dynamic of the situation. The cybersecurity team had not only identified the source of the breach, but had also uncovered the full scope of the surveillance operation that had been targeting the royal family. Detective Inspector Matthews gathered the core security team for an urgent briefing. The news was both concerning and relieving. Concerning because of what had been discovered, but relieving because they now had a clear understanding of what they were dealing with. "We've identified the source," Kensington announced to the assembled officers. This was a state-sponsored operation, likely conducted by a hostile foreign intelligence service. They've been systematically gathering intelligence on royal security protocols for what appears to be several months. The revelation explained the sophistication and persistence of the breach. This wasn't a criminal operation seeking financial gain or a terrorist plot aimed at immediate harm. Instead, it was a long-term intelligence-gathering operation designed to map royal security procedures and identify potential vulnerabilities. Queen Camilla received the briefing with her characteristic calm and analytical approach. She asked detailed questions about the scope of the operation, the information that had been compromised, and the steps being taken to prevent future incidents. Her years of experience with royal duties had given her a deep understanding of security challenges and the importance of thorough preparation. "What does this mean for our current situation?" she asked Kensington. "Are we safe to travel using modified protocols?" "Yes, Your Majesty," Kensington replied. "Now that we understand the nature of the threat, we can implement countermeasures. We've developed new transportation procedures that use information and routes that weren't part of the compromised systems." Princess Charlotte had spent the day demonstrating remarkable patience and maturity. When she was finally briefed on the basic facts of the situation, in terms appropriate for her age, she showed the same thoughtful response that had characterized her behavior throughout the crisis. "So someone was trying to learn about how we travel and stay safe?" she asked Officer Morrison. "That's right, Your Royal Highness. But now that we know about it, we can make sure it doesn't happen again." Charlotte nodded thoughtfully. "Like changing the locks when someone steals your keys." Her analogy was surprisingly accurate and showed that she grasped the essential nature of the security challenge they had been facing. The new transportation plan involved using alternative routes and procedures that had been developed for exactly this type of situation. Rather than the standard royal transport protocols, both Camilla and Charlotte would travel using backup procedures that employed different vehicles, routes, and communication systems. Airport staff had worked throughout the day to maintain the security of the royal terminal while accommodating the extended stay. Mary Chen and her team had provided excellent service, ensuring that both royal family members had everything they needed during the lengthy delay. Their professionalism and discretion had been noted by the security team and would later result in formal recognition. As the new transportation arrangements were being finalized, Queen Camilla took time to personally thank each member of the security team for their dedication and professionalism. She understood that they had been dealing with an unprecedented situation and had handled it with skill and composure. "Your work today has been exemplary," she told Detective Inspector Matthews. I know this wasn't a situation covered in any training manual, but you've managed it brilliantly." Matthews felt a deep sense of pride in her team's performance. They had faced an unknown security threat and had responded with professionalism, coordination, and determination. The successful resolution of the situation validated years of training and preparation. Charlotte also took time to thank the officers and staff who had cared for her during the long day. Her genuine appreciation and mature understanding of their work impressed everyone she interacted with. Despite her young age, she clearly understood the importance of acknowledging the people who worked to keep her safe. The investigation had revealed that the intelligence operation was part of a larger surveillance effort targeting various government and royal facilities. This discovery led to a comprehensive review of security procedures across multiple institutions and resulted in significant improvements to cybersecurity protocols. As secure transportation finally arrived in the form of unmarked vehicles with specially trained drivers and new communication systems, both Camilla and Charlotte prepared to leave Heathrow. The day had been long and challenging, but it had also demonstrated the effectiveness of royal security procedures and the professionalism of the people responsible for royal protection. The departure process was smooth and efficient, using routes and procedures that hadn't been part of the compromised security systems. Within 30 minutes, both royal family members were safely en route to their respective destinations, accompanied by protection teams using enhanced security protocols. During the journey, Queen Camilla reflected on the day's events and their broader implications. The security breach had been serious, but the response had been professional and effective. She made mental notes about aspects of the experience that might inform future security planning and crisis management procedures. Charlotte used the travel time to complete some of her schoolwork, but she also thought about what she had learned from observing the adults around her during the crisis. She had seen how people could work together under pressure, how important it was to stay calm during difficult situations, and how everyone had a role to play in ensuring safety and security. The investigation continued for several more weeks, ultimately leading to significant improvements in royal security procedures and cyber protection systems. The incident at Heathrow became a case study in crisis management and interagency cooperation, though the full details remained classified for security reasons. Back at Heathrow Airport, normal operations resumed quickly. The royal terminal was restored to its usual state, and staff returned to their regular duties. However, the experience had given everyone involved a deeper appreciation for the complexity of royal security and the dedication of the people responsible for protecting the royal family. Detective Inspector Matthews received formal recognition for her leadership during the crisis, and several members of her team were also commended for their performance. The incident had tested their training and procedures under unprecedented circumstances, and they had proven equal to the challenge. The cybersecurity improvements implemented as a result of the investigation strengthened not only royal protection systems but also government communication networks more broadly. The hostile intelligence operation had inadvertently led to significant enhancements in national security capabilities. MI5 operative David Kensington compiled a comprehensive report on the incident, which became required reading for security professionals throughout the government. The report highlighted the importance of assuming that any security system could be compromised and the need for robust backup procedures and alternative protocols. Queen Camilla eventually made her visit to the Children's Hospital, though it was rescheduled for the following week. The delay meant that her interaction with the young patients was even more meaningful, as she was able to spend additional time with each child and their families. The hospital staff and patients were understanding about the schedule change, and the visit was ultimately more successful than originally planned. Princess Charlotte returned to her studies with a new perspective on the security challenges faced by her family. The experience had given her insights into the complexity of royal life and the dedication of the many people who worked behind the scenes to ensure the safety and security of the royal family. The incident at Heathrow Airport became a defining moment in modern royal security, demonstrating both the evolving nature of security threats and the importance of adaptable, professional response procedures. It showed that even in the face of sophisticated challenges, proper training, clear communication, and dedicated personnel could ensure the safety and security of the royal family while maintaining the dignity and composure that the public expected from their representatives. Years later, both Queen Camilla and Princess Charlotte would look back on this day as an important learning experience, that had prepared them for the challenges and responsibilities of royal life. The incident had tested their character under pressure and had proven that they possessed the grace, patience, and wisdom necessary to fulfill their roles with honor and distinction.